Greco. I'm a rising freshman at Stanford University. I started a blog called SciStrut.com where I combine my interest in STEM and fashion.
My role at Nike is to study really truly the limits of human performance, to identify different biomechanical factors that you can harness through a product in order to make an athlete better.
We're back here in the Nerd Girl Nation Petri dish with Autumn Greco and Alison Sheets. Welcome, ladies. So I wanted to start with Autumn because Autumn is freshman now at Stanford.
It's super hard to get into Stanford. I know that because I never finished high school. Don't you have to do like something crazy cool already to be like even looked at to get into Stanford? So did you cure something?
Well, I didn't develop a cure, but I definitely expressed that I'm really serious about my interests and that I definitely turn my passion into action through research and through creating SciStrut.com and help other girls find their passion too.
And Stanford's the one with the tree on the logo, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm learning so much today, guys.
What was your first experience with science and how'd you get into it?
I was always really interested in science from when I was really young. I competed in the science fair every year from elementary school. And then in high school, I really wanted to take that to the next level. And in junior year, I found a cancer research program, and I was accepted into the program and awarded a stipend from the National Cancer Institute to conduct acute myeloid leukemia research, which is a type of blood cancer.
And you also had a wonderful experience with L'Oreal.
There was a posting on Teen Vogue's It Girls site, and it said, calling all girls interested in STEM. So I emailed them, and I got an email back saying I was selected to go to the L'Oreal for Women in Science ceremony in DC. And following the ceremony, I came up to Dr. Katie Brenner, and I asked her straight out, do you have any internships in your lab? And I was sponsored by L'Oreal to work in her lab for 1 week and learn biochemistry techniques that she used in her research.
Was the lab everything you expected?
So I had never been in a lab setting before, and I had no idea how to conduct anything at all. I was learning all the techniques that I'd have to use for the research, and I was able to finish an entire independent project by the end of the time.
You're doing science, you're doing technology, and you're a blogger. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I founded my platform called SciStrut.com, and I wanted to create a website that encouraged girls to pursue STEM careers. And I decided to combine fashion and science because a lot of people don't believe that scientists could be fashionable and trendy, and I wanted to prove that that stereotype didn't exist. And
I'm looking at a young woman in her first year of college, was already doing research at 16. What's the dream?
I'm still really interested in cancer science, but I'm also interested in a link between exercise and physical wellness. I'd like to go more into wearable technology, and I feel that wearable technology is the future.
So that leads us into Alison. You are a biomechanics engineer at Nike.
Yeah.
How do you even get into biomechanics?
I grew up doing gymnastics and had the relatively unique experience for my coach to have a PhD in physics. So it was funny being 9 and having your coach talk to you about angular momentum. But then, I went through middle school, finally got to high school, took a physics class, and started to understand what he was actually telling us. And that ended up being really influential, that you could take these things that you were learning in school and apply them to something that I really loved.
Did you know these sports engineering positions even existed out there?
No, I didn't know that they existed, and I'm not sure if they actually did. So I knew I wanted to be in an engineering program, but whenever you saw pictures of what engineers did, it was planes or bridges or cars, and that wasn't really my thing. But I thought if I could learn all of the equations and all of that material, I was then free to apply it to anything I wanted. And what I wanted to apply it to was people and people doing sports. And then this opportunity opened up at Nike that was really just combining all these things, and with the opportunity to work with the world's greatest athletes and really fantastic product creation teams, and it just seemed like a really great fit.
Nike's looking at all different things. They're looking at performance, they're looking at endurance, they're looking at the future.
One thing I want to ask you, a person actually changes their natural movement when they know they're being watched, the same as if you put a camera in the wild and an animal knows there's a camera, it acts completely different. Is that the same sometimes with athletes? If someone's like Loie, we're monitoring how you move. I walk like I'm an idiot because I'm like, someone's monitoring me.
Yes.
Does that happen?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's part of, I think, part of the fun part of our job. Like, you bring these athletes in, all levels of athletes. You put things all over them. You tell them to start at a line and go when I say go, and then you go, but do it really naturally.
Is that the sensors there?
Yeah, this is one type of technology to track where your limbs are in space, like how you're moving. So we attach these in different spots, and then the cameras can only see these, and that's what helps us recreate what your skeleton was doing. Part of what we do in the Sport Research Lab is identify different athlete needs. And so I kind of brought the two bookends for our running category. If you're trying to run 100 meters, you just want to run as fast as you possibly can. So things that you would prioritize in that shoe would be really different than a shoe that you would want to go for a long, easy run. The type of research that we do investigates really every aspect of both of these things. If you're going to run for longer, you probably want some sort of cushioning because that feels really nice underneath your foot when you're running. Whereas when you're running fast, you wouldn't prioritize that at all. And instead, you really need a lot of traction because you're creating such large forces trying to push the track back behind you. So you have all these pins and these secondary traction elements to really help your foot sense where the track is.
And who's got the best start? It's pretty even, but Shelly-Ann Fraser.
Have you used any technology?
Yeah, so this past summer I was working at Forte. Forte is a fitness and tech startup that streams workouts from all different fitness studios to any of your devices.
What have been some of your greatest challenges getting into the field?
So not knowing where to start is a huge challenge for anyone wanting to go into science. Labs seem really intimidating and you don't know where the right fit is for you. I just thought when I go into a lab, I'm gonna make a breakthrough day one, and it doesn't happen like that. One day in particular, I was spending 4 hours in a dark room using fluorescent microscopy.
What can it detect?
It basically can detect what's glowing. I could not find what was glowing pretty much. I just really wanted some data to present to my mentor and show her that I was working hard in the lab, and I didn't know what to do because I wasn't finding the right data. And the moment that I did find it reaffirmed that I wanted to stay in research, even though it's very frustrating.
And I think you're finding that with sports as well, right? I mean, you've got to train better, harder, faster, and you don't give up just because you lose the game.
One thing I want to bring up, and it's super important to have, is role models. I look up to Dr. Karen. That's what made me want to become a comedian. Who did you have as a role model growing up?
Definitely my teachers in school who were just sharing how wonderful science is and the possibility of discovery.
Who did you have?
I kind of got turned on to science and trying to combine engineering and sports through my gymnastics coach when I was in middle school and high school.
What would you want to tell other girls? What words of wisdom could you give them?
Just don't be afraid to ask for what you want. It may not exist yet, but that might be because no one knows they need it. So if there's something that you want to try and do, just ask for help, and the more specific and concrete you can make it, most of the time people are going to say yes.
What about you, Autumn?
Yeah, I would say to turn your passion into action. I think that's a little tidbit that I really enjoy living by. Just not to be afraid of stereotypes and not let what people think of a career influence your decision to pursue that.
Well, we hope you can put your passion into action, and we want to thank both Autumn and Allison for being with us today on Nerd Girl Nation.